Well, if you're going to resurrect some ancient gods, you're going to need some cultists to do it. Without them, some people might think you're just a madman who's raving to himself in slightly dimmed out rooms. Hello everybody, my name is YujimboXD and welcome to the channel. And as you can tell by the spooky mood lighting that we still got going on, we are still in the month of Halloween. So I figured now was a good time to come back and revisit Kaiserredux, the spookiest mod in Hearts of Iron. Not really, but there is a particular path that someone had suggested to me in the comment sections, and I gave it a quick look over the weekend, and it was actually a ton of fun. So, for those of you who don't know, Kaiserredux is a sub-mod for the very popular Kaiserreich mod, which is a world in which what if Germany had won World War I. And this sub-mod just adds a few different focus trees and changes a few things. And one of the new paths that were added in this was for New England, but in order to get there, first we need to go through Canada. And I'll explain as we get into it. But yes, here's a quick look at the world for those who need a refresher. Germany is dominating in Europe, communists have taken over France and Britain, and the British government live in exile in Canada. And the US is about to explode, like it does in mods. Alright, so here we are in Canada, where the wild Geddy Lee roams. But we won't be sticking around for too long, so I think I need to come up with a way to help myself in the future. So I think the only thing I can realistically do to help myself out in the future is focus on making infantry equipment. So just in case you've never played Kaiserreich before, and you really should, it is one of the best mods out there, we are currently the British government living in exile. We have King George here, and ordinarily if you're going to play as Canada, you'd be building up to invade the UK. But I'm not going to have to waste too much brain power focusing on that tonight. Alright, maybe I spoke too soon. I guess we don't have King George. Instead, we got his son, Edward VIII, the one who in our timeline abdicated to marry an American. And I think he's too busy chugging maple syrup these days to have met Wallace Simpson. Well, looks like the world was hit by Black Monday, but get used to that because once I get my guy in charge, every Monday will be a Black Monday. Oh yeah, and I forgot there's an option in the decision tree to change Edward's outfit. So you can have Regal Edward, or you can have Sassy Edward, which is my preference. And now an American ambassador is demanding we pay back our debts. Can't I just cover him in molten Tim Hortons and send him back to his masters? That'll send a message. I will say I'm going to miss the Canadian spy agency. They have a all-star lineup. They have the guy who wrote James Bond and a bunch of the people that he based the character on. Not to mention we also have Deadpool and a man who enjoys a banana terracotta pie. Well, the Americans are still begging for us to help them in some way, which just shows how truly desperate they are. I will not give you funds, but I will compromise and I will send you Ryan Reynolds. Oh no, the French in Canada are revolting. Also, they're holding a demonstration. That's it, you get no poutine for a week. Alright, here we go. The thing we were waiting for has finally happened. It's a bad day to be an American, but it's a good day to be a power-hungry opportunist. Well, it looks like New England's in a bit of a pickle. Why don't we just step in and help them out? There you go, America. I left you with New Jersey at least. But I'll be honest, it's like the 6th best Jersey I know, right behind Jersey Mike's. Whoa, not only are we gonna have New England, we're also going to steal Alaska and Puerto Rico. Or I guess we'll just make a puppet in Alaska. I just want to make sure this border gore lasts forever. Now there's the actual event we need. We now have to decide the future of New England, and in order to get who we want, we need to set up a Governor General specifically. Alright, so here we are in the true country we're going to play as, New England. And here is our new focus tree for New England. And it's crazy big for being such a small country in the grand scheme of things. That's Kaiserreich for you. They love filling out their focus trees, which is probably why it's the most popular mod on the Steam Workshop. Alright, but we do have to reorganize the army now, and we have some great choices when it comes to leaders. We have 2 men who've named themselves after tanks, but I think we need a general who's ready to take a bullet for their men. Well, when I was playing as Canada, I did set up some economic unions in advance just so I could join them. I'm hoping to keep Canada on my side. Hopefully they can send me some supplies and manpower. But I'll be honest, I really don't like any of these. Can I get any of these flags without the British watermark? Well, I'll go with the red one, just because it's partially cut off and it has a tree on it. How often do you get trees on your flag? Shout out to all my Ents out there. Well, it looks like the Governor General is trying to put some British loyalists in charge. Looks like somebody's gonna have to engineer a bit of a situation for a regime change. So why don't we take a page from the old history book and party like it's 1770 and throw some rocks at the British? Well, that did result in some Americans getting massacred, so why not have a horror author come and tell us how to run on things. Oh yes, it's going to get weird. Yes, the famous writer H.P. Lovecraft, famous for writing stories about eldritch horrors. Speaking of eldritch horrors, well, there he is, the man we've all been waiting for, and he even brought a new flag with him. So let's not waste any time, we got work to do. So here's a trick for you. If you ever need to request material support from your allies, just know they won't generally give it to you if you already have too much equipment. So, as an example, let's just say you decided to conscript all of New England. You will find the AI much more willing to give you what you asked for. And look at that, we got 1,000 new guns. Your dark tentacled gods, thank you. Well, I guess we should address the inappropriately named cat in the room. Lovecraft was known to be a bit of a racist. I just guessed the dark gods really don't approve of the Irish. Well, it looks like the government has finally taken interest again in UFOs. And this mod isn't even trying to hide it, it's straight up David Duchovny with his X-Files. You know, not to get too far off topic, but I've never seen X-Files, but my first encounter with David Duchovny is when he did voices in a video game called Area 51, and now I'm remembering that Marilyn Manson also did voices in that game.
Your flesh tears so easily, your bones snap so quickly.
The early 2000s was a very weird time. Well, we get to decide which side of the road we want to drive on, and nothing says I worship an ancient immortal evil like driving on the opposite side of the road. Dang, it's a lot easier to find proof of extraterrestrial life than I thought. We got ourselves a genuine UFO. Well, let's crack that space nut open and see what's inside. Turns out they were keeping a big explosion inside of that ship. I think we just took out the local Ben & Jerry's. Well, we have an agency for hunting aliens, now we're gonna need one to hunt some ghosts. So we're gonna set up our spy agency so they can play a little bit of Phasmophobia. Am I sexy and I know it? Oh, fuck!
I believe that's a no.
Was not expecting the Hotline Miami reference, but in our case, we just have somebody going around killing Irish gangs. We may have some violence on the street, but at least we're gonna get a kick-ass electronica soundtrack out of it. Well, if you're going to resurrect some ancient gods, you're gonna need some cultists to do it. Without them, some people might think you're just a madman who's raving to himself in slightly dimmed out rooms. And I didn't forget to ask Sassy Edward for some more guns. He hasn't started trying to throw them all away in Europe yet. Trust me, the eldritch gods need it more than you do. And now it looks like Richard Beard wants some money to go explore Antarctica. Sure, I think we can get a few more horror franchises into this run. I mean, good luck. Now it looks like Lovecraft wants to republish his magnum opus Shadow over Ismith. See, even back in the day they were doing remakes. You just can't escape them. Now it looks like we have some lunatics who think they might be in a Lovecraft story. Hahaha, isn't this crazy and unbelievable? No, I've actually met people who are like this. Well, it looks like we left our Norwegian and American crews a little bit too long on the ice, and we got a thing. This is why you shouldn't leave your Arctic explorers out. You want things because that's how you get things. Well, we must have pissed off Dagon because he just sent a giant hurricane to mess us up. In the words of Phil Swift,
now that's a lot of damage!
Just get some Flex Seal to fix all that up. Your Dark Masters will be impressed with the adhesive powers of Flex Seal. Well, I'm gonna have to chill on recruiting units for a minute just because I'm gonna need some supply to get rid of these demilitarized zones, but not before I get one more quick payout from Canada. So we now have to make a choice in our focus tree. We could choose to close ourselves off and not interact with anybody and cripple our entire economy, or we could continue our game and actually get some more goals. So instead of closing ourselves off, I think we should just show the world what we're actually all about. One tentacle at a time. Well, now we get to appoint a new poet laureate of New England. And obviously we're gonna choose Lovecraft. Sorry, Robert Frost, maybe you should have spent more time talking about tentacles than trees. Here we go, slowly chipping away at this demilitarized zone. One dead rebel at a time. Well, it looks like America's having a ton of fun over here, and I want to get in on this action. Also, I'm hoping if I can take down the Syndicalists fast enough, they won't join this big faction over in Europe. So then let's do it. Let's get America back. Let's do it for Cthulhu. And we'll call Edward in too. Put out that cigarette. It's time to go to war. That's slightly better, but I think I may have made him addicted to smoking. Well, I'm using the free tanks I got to make a mess of their front lines, but even grinding away against the other Americas for 2 years, they still have a ton of divisions. Well, we're at the point of the game where Canada just throws up their hands and says, here, you take my troops. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, it kind of looks like you did. You're making a pretty good offensive here in the north where they have no troops. So I'm just gonna finish the job that you started. Or maybe they're just coddling me and they want me to pretend like I'm actually going to get the win on my own. You can do it, New England. I believe in you. I'm doing it, Canada. I'm a real country. I'm doing it. Well, it looks like our cultists want to induce a terror to bring about the outer gods. I guess they're not a fan of the Aleister Crowley method of sexual debauchery magicastery. Well, there's a few pockets here and there I'm gonna let other America clean up. And I'm really just trying to rush Chicago because I want that to happen. Well, thanks for leaving me some border gore to clean up now, America. You're next. Well, here I go invading America again. Well, there's nothing strange going on in this neighborhood, just a bunch of regular guys getting their high-powered quantum lasers ready to fight some ghosts. There goes second America, only 3 more to go. Oh my goodness, I have lost Michigan twice now in a peace conference. I'm going to have to invade Michigan 3 times. Well, the old gods wait for no man. Let's start the next war. Maybe I can actually get the East Coast this time. Wouldn't that be nice? I think I'm just going to have to focus on little encirclements for now. Every one of these other Americas has way more divisions than I have. I guess I should have spent more time studying the blade than at home writing best-selling novels. Tell you what, I did expect to win this war, but what I didn't expect was the Portuguese to be invading Miami. Bienvenido a America, I guess. There we go, just gonna need a few extra divisions to help end this war. There we go, another America down. I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to keep saying that. Well, at least I finally managed to get Michigan and most of the East Coast. Well, we haven't exactly finished reuniting America just yet, but Lovecraft decided to celebrate by giving himself a yellow coat. Well, I can't let the Pacific states have the rest of the American Union state, so it's time to say so long, Mr. Long. Well, that Antonin Dvorak means my Canadian allies are off to Europe, which means I'm probably going to lose the expeditionary forces I was given any second now. Oh, looks like we have an infantry division in the back lines, snatching up their victory points. There we go. I only have to fight one other America in this peace conference, and this should be the last time I have to do this. So yes, obviously go right for Texas first. Make sure they can't get that oil. Well, they ended up bullying me out of Texas, but I'm going to end up bullying them out of their life here in a moment. Well, it looks like our beloved Lovecraft has come down with a case of colon cancer. We could seek conventional medicine, but I prefer to rely on my dark gods when it comes to asshole cancer. Well, in order to continue reuniting America, I'm going to have to leave my faction because they have a non-aggression pact with the Pacific states. Thankfully, I can break free with the help of my dark gods, finally actually providing me with something useful. Well, that was slightly unexpected. I'm in the middle of trying to bail on the Entente and the Pacific states declared war on me. I think that actually means I can still leave their faction and call them into war right now. Yep, it sure does, and they didn't have any troops on their border. Go be a distraction for me, Canada. Yep, and I just left the faction. Forget the dark gods, that's like one of the evilest moves I've seen in a while. No, they captured Patrick Stewart. Don't worry, Jack Nicklaus always has your back. Just gotta make encirclements wherever I can find him. Huh, looks like they do have an event addressing Lovecraft's cat. Yeah, he had a cat with a really racist name. That's what I was hinting at earlier. And I've never been a fan of the argument, oh, he was just a man of his time, because yeah, so was John Brown. Well, it looks like the land that brought us King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard is sneaking up behind the Pacific states to take California off of them. How will this affect my war score? Find out more at 11. Well, now that I have their tanks behind their back line, I just have to rush their victory points before the Australians and Canadians get the rest of it, and before Lovecraft dies. There we go, and that war score looks very promising. You used to be able to stop the AI from claiming land if you cut them off at the border, but I don't think that works anymore. There we go, managed to get all of America and their navy in the peace deal. And I will not praise Cthulhu for that one, that was all me. Hey, look at the bright side, Entente, at least you can go back to focusing on Europe now. Well, that looks like one reunited America to me. Let's get a new name. Sovereign Order of America? Sounds pretty good to me. Well, Canada, would you like to see some monsters? What if I told you you were harboring one the entire time? Yeah, you look a bit busy in Europe, so I think I'm just gonna take my opportunity to take Canada back. You have given me equipment, now give me your life. I hear Cthulhu's whispers at night. He tells me he wants Canada. I don't understand why he asks these things of me, but I will do as he commands. Interesting, Canada capitulated, and for some reason only Sardinia's in the peace conference. Oh, I just ended that peace conference and it just gave me all of Canada. I'll take it. I don't understand it, but I don't think I meant to understand all the mysteries of the universe. Well, there is still more to our focus tree, but most of this focuses on revising the army and economy. And if I wanted to finish this focus tree, I would have to finish reuniting the rest of the Anglican sphere, because apparently Cthulhu really likes white people. Well, it was certainly nice taking a trip to the Mountains of Madness and returning to Kaiserredux. So, final thoughts. As you can imagine, this is Kaiserreich, so the focus trees are going to be very good. So, A+ in terms of a game of Hoi. My biggest complaint, though, was I don't think this focus tree was crazy enough. Sure, we had The Thing and X-Files, but like, I really wanted it to go fully off the deep end. I wanted legions of star vampires and a decision to sacrifice the East Coast for an army of fishmen. But hey, maybe the cosmic horror were the friends we made along the way. So I hope you all enjoyed this. If you have any suggestions or comments, let me know down below. I do read them all. So thank you once again for all your suggestions and hitting that subscribe button. All right, till the next one, have a great night, everyone.